Hi, this is Magnus. Thanks for visiting my channel. In this video we're going to consider the importance of playing your opening moves in the correct sequence. Now, I'm not a grandmaster, I'm just a regular guy sharing his own chess journey and the lessons he's learned along the way. Now, I've recently settled upon the Pirc Defense. I like it a lot. It generally allows me to get through the opening without making any mistakes and into the middle game where I can start settling down and playing chess. But in this game it didn't happen. And it didn't happen because I was playing the right moves. But, you know, as Eric Morecambe once said, not necessarily in the right order. Let me show you what I mean. It began with my opponent playing e4, the most common opening in chess, as I'm sure you know, and I responded with my normal queen's pawn lead, which is the start of the Pirc setup. He then played pawn to f4, and this looks exactly like the king's gambit. I thought that's what he's playing. I thought no problem. I get on with my next step, which is to fianchetto my king's bishop. Now this requires a number of moves, and I began by moving my knight's pawn forward, my king's knight's pawn forward to g6. Now this is a correct move, but it's not played at this time in the Pirc. The move I should have played is to bring my knight out. I should have brought my knight out, this knight here, to g6 to challenge his central pawn. Now had I done that, that's a forcing move. He would have had to have responded. He would have had to probably have brought his knight out to defend the threat. But I didn't do that, and so I gave him a free move. And what did he do? He transitioned straight into the Austrian attack. Now I did recognize this was the Austrian attack, and I realized that I needed to do something about it, so I needed to suspend temporarily my idea of fianchettoing the bishop and do something about this situation. So I challenged his pawn on d4, and he responded by pushing his pawn on the f-file forward. Now at this point things have already gone a bit wrong, and I know I've got to try to do something to stop these pawns coming forward and ruining my setup. So I decided to put him in check, and he responded by blocking with another pawn. So I've got this huge pawn center against me, and when I've faced pawn pushers in the past, I know it can be very, very challenging in the middle game if you don't break up the pawn chain early on. So I thought that's what I've got to do. So I took his pawn on the d file. He took it with his queen, and because I was so distracted by this pawn attack, I then also took his pawn on the f-file, completely missing the fact that his queen is lined up on my rook. And of course he took the rook and the game is over. Now that happened because I was playing the right moves in the wrong order, and that's the lesson to take away. Of course, it doesn't absolve me from not noticing that his queen was lined up with my rook. I mean, if I go back a couple of moves here, well, go back to this point. I could have responded had I noticed that his queen was lined up on my rook. I could simply have pulled my queen across to e5 and offered a queen trade. We could have traded. Yeah, my position wouldn't have been great, but I could have survived, and played on, and maybe redeemed the situation. Who knows? But the lesson I take away from this game is it's all very well knowing the right moves, but you've got to play them in the right order. And this lesson would not just apply to the Pirc defense that I was playing, but to other openings and defenses too. The correct move order, it's there for a reason. You might not know what the reason is, but if you're going to play a set opening, whatever it is, make sure you don't just play the right moves. Make sure you play them in the right order. Okay, so there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.